Do you remember teenage years, young adulthood? We were very confused about who we were. We did these silly things to fit in with cool friends, and then we regretted it later on. Okay, good. A few of you do remember it. I was afraid there for a moment, no reaction. I certainly do remember it. Now, when I graduated from high school, I decided to travel the world on my own. And it felt like a great liberation, because going to places where nobody knows you, there were no expectations of how I should behave. I could do the things that felt right at that moment. With that extra maturity that goes around traveling on your own, and with that experience of finding myself a little bit more, I could bring that me, the new me, to wherever I went. I could also take it back home. Fast forward, in my 30s, I worked in Japan. Now in Denmark, where I'm from originally, I'm not particularly tall, I'm average. In fact, my brother-in-law, when he was introduced to the family, he said, "Oh, Mette, you're the dwarf in the family, aren't you? I'm the smallest one." And in Japan, I stand out. I tower out the little bit extra over the sea of brown hair. Blue eyes, blonde hair, fair skin. In Japan, I'm exotic. I really am different. In a male-dominated society where I'm a woman and I have kids, young kids, working at the same time, that doesn't really matter anymore, because how much more exotic can it get than exotic, right? I didn't have to try to fit in, because in a million years there would be no way that I ever could fit in. My last corporate job was different. All of a sudden, I didn't feel like me anymore, and I didn't know what it was. I felt demotivated. And it was very ironic, because I had studied motivation since I had done my MBA thesis on it 20 years earlier. I was demotivated, and I took the consequences of resigning before it turned into a burnout. It was the right thing to do. I founded a company, and I worked very hard on understanding motivation and engagement. And I would like to share with you today some of the things that I learned about inspiration, energy, and authenticity. When we speak about authenticity, we need to define the word first. It's a word that sits on every executive coach's lips. But what does it mean? Being genuine? Being real? Being you? But what part of you? On this picture, we have a working mother. Women very often are torn between the roles of being a professional and being a parent. In order to be authentic, do you need to unite these two roles? Now, in my view, not necessarily. Let's add a third dimension to it. I'm a parent, I'm a professional, and I'm a wine lover. I look forward to the drinks that we're going to have at 6 o'clock. And when we add that dimension, it makes it very apparent that I don't need to live all three roles at the same time. It's the same with being a parent at work. You don't need to live everything at the same time. You can still be authentic by living parts of you. So if living your different roles in unity is not key to being authentic, what is? To me, it is about living your core values. The concepts, the principles that are of very strong importance to you, that you don't want to compromise on. In a recent workshop, I asked participants, how do you define core values? One participant put it in a very beautiful way. She said, if you take away my role as a lawyer, my label, as an MBA, professional, mother, sister, daughter, friend, take away all these labels. What's left of me are my core values. I would like to hear from you in the room. Are you aware of your core values? Do you live your life based on perhaps 3 or 5 guiding principles, core values? For me, my values are around growth, personal growth, professional growth. It's also about empowerment. I want to empower others to be and do the best they can. It's about variety. It's also about respect. It's about flexibility. How about you? Can I see by a show of hands, are you aware of your core values? Would you be able to define them? Who in here? Can I see by a show of hands? All right, we've got half of the room who's raised their hands, which is quite good. Very often when I ask this question, only 1 or 2 hands go up. Sometimes not one single hand go up. It's a little bit concerning because if core values are essential for authenticity, and we don't know our core values, how can there be authenticity? To those of you who don't know your core values, I'd like to do a very short exercise with you. On the next slide, you will see lots of different words popping up. These are all core values. I would like you to use your intuition to decide for you what appeals to you. It's very important that you do this on an intuition basis because there will be loads of words coming up very quickly. If you use your rational mind, you will take an hour, and we don't have time for that. We have 20 to 30 seconds for this only. So on the next slide, some words are popping up. These are values, perhaps they are yours. And intuitively, when your mind goes, yeah, that sounds good, then take note of it. All right, ready? Here they go. Very quiet in the room. I hope there was some reflection there. Did any of these words appeal to you?
Yes.
Yes. I see some nodding in the room, so that's good. This, please take them home with you. Reflect on them, how you live them in your life, and how you can further live them to live your values. If you have picked out some values such as compassion, empowering, nurturing, supporting, you have what we call feminine values. Feminine values are not necessarily held only by women. Both men and women may hold them, all genders. However, typically, women have them a little bit more frequently than men. Now, in business life, rules are written by men, literally speaking. Look at all the MBA books. They're written by American white men, aren't they? I would like to rewrite the rules. I would like you to, if you have some of these feminine values, that you hold on to them. Not just in the home, but you also hold on to feminine values when you go to work. Because the world would be a lot better if we would all live our feminine values also at the workplace. If you ask me, will values accelerate my career? I would like to answer it by saying what values do. First of all, values are your compass. They can guide you to take the right decision in difficult situations. Second, values, they are also the basis of your purpose. When you live your values, when you know your values, this is when purpose very easily emerges. And when you have a purpose, what happens? Our passion is ignited. We all of a sudden have loads of energy to do extraordinary things. We can do it all day and still feel good in the evening. This was one of the things that was missing in my last job. I wasn't living my values. I was not able to combine my personal values with what was required by the job. And my previously bubbly me evaporated, energy evaporated. There is a direct link by living your values until getting energy. Living your values will allow you to do extraordinary things because it unleashes this energy that's stored in each and every one of you. And the great thing is, your values, they inspire. They inspire you, and when you live them and communicate them, you also inspire others. And imagine if that energy that you have unleashed with yourself is also going to be unleashed amongst the people that you're working with. You'll be able to do extraordinary things in your team. Under one condition. Some leaders today seem to be leading for the greater me. That doesn't work. There must be a value, there must be a purpose for the greater good. There must be this something that makes the world a better place. When you do this, though, you will be able to do previously unimagined things. So let's sum up. Authenticity is about living your values. Your core values are key to authenticity. When you live them, communicate them, you will inspire others. And if you live a purpose for the greater good, it makes it bigger than yourself, and it will allow you to do extraordinary things. It's all about daring to live your values. It's not about fitting in. It's about daring to embrace the values, embrace the vulnerability that will unmask the leader that I know is inside each and every one of you. Thank you.